If you lost your primary source of income today, how many months would it take before you lost your home? For most of you, that number is terrifyingly small. You spend 40 hours a week building someone else's dream, while your own financial future sits in a savings account, losing value to inflation every single hour. Here is what nobody in finance wants to admit. The system is designed to keep you productive, not prosperous. It needs you just wealthy enough to keep consuming, but never wealthy enough to stop working. I'm Jensen Huang. I didn't build a multi-billion-dollar empire by following the safe advice found in airport bookstores. I did it by understanding the cold, mathematical reality of leverage and sacrifice. I'm going to give you the 5 truths about wealth that will make you feel uncomfortable because they challenge your identity. If you're ready to stop lying to yourself about your bank account, subscribe and listen closely. Most of you have been conditioned to believe that a steady paycheck and a good company are the hallmarks of financial safety. You've been lied to. You've been trained to be a high-functioning component in someone else's machine, and you've mistaken that utility for security. Let's look at the math. If you have one job, you have a single point of failure. If your boss wakes up in a bad mood, if an algorithm renders your department obsolete, or if a global shift makes your skill set redundant, your income goes to zero overnight. That isn't safety. That is a 100% risk concentrated in a single asset that you don't even own. I've spent my life in the world of technology and venture. I see how the world actually works. Companies do not exist to provide you with a lifestyle. They exist to extract value from your time as efficiently as possible. The moment that equation flips, the moment your cost exceeds your value, you are gone. Yet the average person in the middle class spends their best years, from age 25 to 60, trading their most precious commodity, time, for a fixed, capped amount of currency. You are selling your life in 40-hour increments at a wholesale price. True wealth is never built on a salary. Wealth is built on equity. It's built on owning a piece of the future. When I started building my company, I wasn't looking for a paycheck. I was looking for leverage. I wanted to own something that could grow while I slept. Most people are terrified of the risk of starting a business or investing aggressively, but they never stop to calculate the risk of not doing it. The risk of reaching 65 and realizing your pension is a joke and your savings have been eaten by 3 decades of inflation. That is the real catastrophe. You need to stop thinking like an employee and start thinking like an owner. An employee asks, "How much can I earn this month?" An owner asks, "How much of this can I own for the next decade?" If you aren't building your own dream, I promise you, you are helping someone like me build mine. And while I value my employees, I am under no illusion that I am their financial savior. I am their customer. I am buying their time. Are you happy being a product that is bought and sold? The middle class is a trap because it's comfortable enough to keep you from leaving, but restrictive enough to keep you from ever being free. You are in a cage with gold-plated bars. You have a nice car in the driveway and a mortgage that keeps you tethered to a desk you hate. You've traded your freedom for the illusion of stability. Ask yourself, if you stopped working today, who would keep paying you? If the answer is no one, then you aren't wealthy. You're just a well-paid tenant in your own life. You need to shift your identity. You need to move from being a consumer of opportunities to a creator of them. It starts with the brutal realization that your, quote, safe career is the most dangerous thing in your life right now. It is the anesthetic that keeps you from feeling the pain of your own stagnation. But safety isn't the only lie you're telling yourself. The real tragedy isn't just how you make your money, it's what you're doing with the one thing you can never buy back. Most people love to say, time is money. They're wrong. Time is significantly more valuable than money because I can always manufacture more capital, but I cannot manufacture a single extra second of life. You are operating under the delusion that you have forever. You look at your bank account and think, I'll start investing seriously next year, or I'll launch that project when things settle down. Let me be blunt. Things will never settle down. The world will only get faster, more complex, and more expensive. Every day you spend waiting for the right time is a day you've effectively set your future on fire. In my world, we talk about the speed of light and the latency of processors. In your world, you need to talk about the latency of your decision making. If it takes you 3 years to decide to take a risk, you haven't just lost 3 years of work, you've lost 30 years of compounding. Let's do the brutal math. If you invest $1,000 at age 20, it has the potential to grow into something massive by the time you're 60. If you wait until you're 30 to invest that same $1,000, you haven't just lost 10 years. You've potentially lost half of your total end result wealth. You are paying a hesitation tax that is higher than any government levy you will ever face. The middle class treats time as something to be spent or passed. They kill time watching mindless entertainment or scrolling through feeds of people living the lives they wish they had. Wealthy people treat time as capital to be deployed. When I look at a project, I don't just ask if it's profitable. I ask what the time to yield is. Your greatest enemy isn't the IRS or a bad economy, it's your own biological clock. You are aging every time you blink. Your energy levels at 50 will not be what they are at 30. Your ability to recover from a financial failure shrinks as you get older because your runway, the time you have left to bounce back, is disappearing. This is why I have no patience for people who talk about work-life balance in their 20s and 30s. That is a concept for people who have already won. If you haven't secured your freedom yet, balance is just another word for mediocrity. You are choosing to be comfortable now in exchange for being anxious for the rest of your life. You think you're being patient. You aren't. You're being cowardly. You're using patience as a mask for the fear of making a mistake. But in the global economy, the biggest mistake is being invisible and inactive. The clock is ticking. It's ticking while you sleep, while you complain, and while you make excuses about why the economy isn't right. The economy doesn't care about your timeline. The market doesn't care about your feelings. If you don't start valuing your time with a level of intensity that borders on obsession, you will end up like the millions of people who reach their 60s with a heart full of could-haves and a wallet full of nothing. You'll realize too late that the someday you were waiting for was actually 10 years ago. But time isn't the only thing you're wasting. You're also burning your potential on a performance that nobody asked for, all to impress people who don't even like you. We need to talk about why you're actually broke. It's not the price of eggs or the interest rates, it's your ego. Most of the middle class is engaged in a massive, expensive stage play, where everyone is pretending to be more successful than they actually are. You are paying a social tax every single month, and it is bleeding you dry. I see it everywhere. People earning $80,000 a year, driving $60,000 cars. Families living in houses with 3 spare rooms they never enter, filled with furniture they bought on credit. You are working jobs you hate to buy things you don't need, to impress people you don't even like. It is a psychological sickness. True wealth is invisible. Looking rich is the consolation prize for people who couldn't actually make it. When you buy something to signal status, you aren't just spending money, you are spending your future freedom. That luxury SUV isn't a vehicle, it's 2 years of retirement you just traded away. That designer bag isn't an accessory, it's the seed capital for a business you'll now never start. You are literally wearing your regrets. In the tech world, we focus on efficiency. We want the maximum output for the minimum input. Your personal finances are the opposite. They are a monument to inefficiency. You have high overhead for a life that provides very little profit. The social tax is what happens when you let your neighbors dictate your balance sheet. You're afraid that if you don't have the newest phone or the renovated kitchen, people will think you're failing. But let me tell you what real failure looks like. It's having a beautiful house and a high-status lifestyle while being one paycheck away from total collapse. That isn't success, that's a hostage situation. I didn't get where I am by fitting in. I got here by being willing to look wrong for a very long time. I was willing to invest every dollar back into the vision while others were buying toys. You have to be willing to be misunderstood. You have to be okay with people thinking you're struggling because you drive a 10-year-old car while you're secretly building a fortress of capital behind the scenes. If you cannot control your impulse to show off, you will never be wealthy. Wealth requires the discipline to prioritize utility over status. It requires you to realize that the most powerful thing money can buy isn't a Ferrari. It's the ability to say no. The ability to walk away from a bad boss, a bad deal, or a bad situation. You can't say no when you owe the bank for a lifestyle you can't afford. Stop being a consumer and start being an accumulator. Every dollar that leaves your hand for a depreciating asset is a soldier you've sent to die in a war that doesn't matter. You think you're buying quote-unquote the good life, but you're actually buying a set of heavy chains. And the worst part? Once you finally decide to break those chains and actually move into the world of real wealth, you're going to find out that it's a very lonely place to be. Here's the truth no one wants to admit. Wealth is isolating. Everyone tells you they want to be a billionaire, but very few people actually want the life that comes with it. When you decide to stop playing the middle-class game, you stop being relatable. You become a glitch in their matrix, and people don't like glitches. As you grow, your peer group will shrink. You'll realize that the people you used to grab drinks with are committed to their excuses. They want to complain about the economy, the government, and their bad luck. When you stop complaining and start executing, you become a mirror that reflects their own inaction back at them. They won't cheer for your success. They will try to pull you back down to their level of safety. You have to be prepared to lose friends. You have to be prepared for your family to think you've changed or that you're obsessed. They're right. You have to be obsessed. You cannot build something extraordinary with a balanced or normal social life. But the isolation isn't even the hardest part. The hardest part is the absolute weight of responsibility. In the middle class, you can blame, quote, the system. When you are wealthy, there is no one left to blame. If you lose it, it's your fault. If you fail to grow it, it's your fault. You are the CEO of your life, and the board of directors is just you looking in the mirror at 2 a.m. Most of you are terrified of that level of accountability. You'd rather have a boss tell you what to do so you have someone to blame when things go wrong. Wealth demands that you take 100% ownership of your outcomes. It requires a level of mental toughness that most people simply haven't developed because they've been coddled by the illusion of job security. The higher you climb, the more the wind blows. You will face problems that a quote-unquote regular job never prepared you for. You will have to make decisions where there is no right answer, only a series of trade-offs. You will have to learn to live with the fact that nobody is coming to save you. There is no government bailout for your personal ambition. There is no safety net for the bold. This is why so many people who, quote, strike it rich, lose it all within a few years. They had the money, but they didn't have the identity. They still had the middle-class mind, the mind that wants to spend, to be liked, and to feel, quote unquote, safe. If you want to stay wealthy, you have to realize that money is not a trophy. It is a tool. And like any high-powered tool, it can build a cathedral, or it can take your hand off if you stop respecting it. You must become the kind of person who can carry that weight without buckling. So, where does this leave you? You've heard the truth. You know your job is a risk. You know your time is dying. You know your lifestyle is a lie. And you know the path ahead is lonely. Most people will finish this video and go right back to their safe routine. They'll order a coffee, check their email, and tell themselves they'll start tomorrow. Don't be most people. Tomorrow is a lie. The only thing that exists is the decision you make right now. Are you going to keep being a spectator in your own life, or are you going to start building something that actually belongs to you? The cost of entry is your comfort. The price of admission is your ego. Wealth isn't a destination, it's a consequence of how you choose to live today. Stop dreaming about the finish line and start respecting the math. I'm not here to motivate you. Motivation is a feeling, and feelings are unreliable. I'm here to give you a reality check. You have the intellect to see the trap, and now you have the map to get out. The question isn't whether it's possible, the question is whether you have the stomach for the truth. Go out and build something. Stop asking for permission to be successful. No one is going to give it to you. You have to take it. If this resonated with you, like the video so the algorithm finds others who need to hear this. Subscribe if you're done with the fluff and ready for the reality of capital. Leave a comment below. What's the one social tax you're cutting out of your life today?